Welcome to the podcast. This is Fleeting Thoughts with Joel Gray and Channing Cornwall. Welcome, Channing. How are you?
Well, thank you very much for welcoming me.
You're welcome. We will begin the podcast with a little bit of jokes and banter. It's customary for us to have 10 minutes of banter before we get to the business.
Oh, God. I don't want to do that voice anymore. I'm just going to change it up completely.
Booby, boo, booby. Booby, boo, 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 boo. Anyway.
Well, you like that drippy dog in those old cartoons.
Was wondering, boo. Anyway. Hi. Hi, Channing.
Hello.
How you doing?
Pretty good. Little sleepy.
Yeah.
Here.
You've been
It's
up
late.
for a while. You were up early this morning doing your run, I bet.
No, I didn't run this morning, actually. I usually don't run on the week. I take the weekends off. This is my 2 days of rest.
Nice.
And it's Sunday, so God doesn't want me to do anything either.
Yep.
Typically.
Unless you're Jewish, and then Saturday's the day of rest.
Oh. Well, see, I'm half Jew and half whatever the other one would be.
Yeah,
That
I just
would
take
qualify me
I just
for
take
Sunday.
I just take both days off.
I'm a greedy person.
Super religious. That should be the name of the podcast.
Super religious?
Super religious. I'm so religious that I sort of going the other way now. Where
Like I have a latex outfit that I put on that just has a big R on it because I'm super religious.
a huge R squared. Religion squared. Jesus isn't enough. Anyway.
What would Jesus do? Call super religious? That's what.
Yeah, you call me. See what I'm up to. See what I should do. Check me out. He reads my book. If you're wondering what Jesus reads, it's not the Bible. It's my book.
The autobiography
Yeah.
of super religious.
I wrote it. It's all factual, I'm sure. Welcome to the podcast, everybody. Thanks for listening. I hope everyone enjoyed our guest star of last week. I hope that was interesting.
It was interesting to have a third person in the mix, for sure.
Yeah, for sure. So let's get this going. What is our first word? What is your word that you're bringing to us right now?
Bringing to the table?
Yeah, I said that last time. I didn't want to say it again.
No? Well, there's a table in front of us.
Put it on there. Nice.
All right, it's there on the table. The word of the week brought to you by me is Larrikin.
Larrikin. John Larrikin.
Mm-hmm. Anyway, it's typically an adjective, which means disorderly or rowdy. But it also can be used as a noun for hoodlum.
Like you dirty larrikin.
Mm-hmm.
Or
a street rowdy is another
street rowdy.
term.
You little street rowdy.
You little larrikin.
You little larrikin. You cute little larrikin. You're a Larry Larrikin.
But it's entered the English language in the mid-1800s and actually has an uncertain origin, a.k.a. it's probably just something fucking somebody made up sometime.
Yeah. Well, I think it's probably hard
Started using hoodlum and riffraff, street rat.
riffraff.
We're just going to bust into a Disney musical number right there. And then they're like fucking larrikins. I don't know what that means, but you're that.
It reminds me of the word that they use for not mannequin, but like a jester. Isn't there a word? Oh, what is it? Never mind.
I don't know. I mean, we could look up jester and see what synonyms there are for jester. I can't think of anything.
Probably not necessary at this point.
Harlequin?
Harlequin. That's what
Was
I
that?
think
Yeah,
I'm thinking.
okay.
Yeah.
That was the only thing I could
like
think
a
of. Might be
larrikin.
similar.
I don't know. That's an interesting word. Where did you find it? Were you just like, what's a weird word?
I just sift through fucking weird words that I can find. I have a lovely dictionary app that's quite helpful sometimes if I'm drawing a blank on what I want to bring to the word table.
The word table. The table word and the word table. Right on. Yeah, I totally did not look up a word this whole week. I've been not thinking about it. But then we were reading just a minute ago on the internet, and you pointed out a word called contiguous, and I was like, that's a super cool word. I'm going to steal that and pretend like I used it, or I came up with it naturally. It's contiguous. It means, and I will look it up real quick on the internet.
A second ago, and I fucking forgot.
Well, I didn't want to wing it. It means sharing a common border, touching, next to, or together in sequence, as in 500 contiguous dictionary entries. So it just means adjoining, right next to each other, adjacent. The United States has, 48 contiguous states?
You could use it as a pickup line, too. Like, I want to get contiguous with you.
Oh, man, you want to get contiguous? I want to join your border. I want a boidus. I want a boidus to touch. So I'm probably going to do that.
Yeah, no,
now that you mention it.
You devised a whole new dating strategy.
Yeah, I don't date, so that's not going to matter. Contiguous. I have a pretty large amount of contiguous time without a date.
You should, if you have like an online dating profile in the about section, to say, I'm a young Larrikin looking to get contiguous with someone.
That's great, dude. Hell yeah, that's fucking poetic. Hell yeah, I'm just a young Larrikin, just with my pants hanging down and shit. Fucking out on the streets in the night, doing things, getting disorderly and shit, breaking bottles, Halloween costume. What? I was thinking of what are those things that they break in Halloween? Pumpkins? Yeah,
pumpkins. Yeah,
you know
the
what
little
I'm
assholes that go around smashing them.
Little assholes.
Those little Larrikins.
So you call all children little assholes?
Most of them, I think. I mean.
Like that new
then I have
movie.
to remind myself it's not their fault.
The new movie Annie is just full of Annie is just full of little assholes, little broke ass assholes. Get a job.
You gotta be careful. The new one is all African American, so if you don't like it, you're racist.
I don't know. I haven't watched it. I don't care if I like it or not. I just know it's full of little hoodlums, little larrikins. I like your word way better than my word, by the way. It's much more interesting than contiguous. Oh, fucking dumb.
Well, that's what happens when you get it off a random sentence on a Wikipedia article.
Yeah, the first weird word I see.
Shit, I don't know what that means.
Sweet. Well, we got that done. Let's talk about something different.
Well, we were just talking about Annie.
Yeah.
Which I haven't seen that, but we did go see the new Hobbit film recently.
Segue.
Yeah.
Oh, speaking of segue, I just popped in my head. They're making another Paul Blart movie. Paul Blart Mall Cop 2 or 3 or something like that.
Didn't we see the trailer for that at the same time? I think at a movie. Not the last movie.
It was the Interstellar. I think it was during Interstellar. Or that doesn't make any sense. Why would it be in the front of?
I know.
It might have been though.
Have a preview for a movie that's going to lower your IQ for a film that is actually really intelligent. It's just weird that you're not pandering to the right crowd.
I think the issue, if this theory is correct that we saw at that point, would be that Interstellar doesn't have a lot of other similar movies, so you just kind of have to pick trailers that go with it. Like to put in before it. There aren't a lot of other high concept sci-fi fucking time travel movies.
Just have 4 trailers for Cosmos. And
and
then the movie starts.
For a TV show on Netflix. Yeah, this is what you should be watching. But yeah, anyway, don't. Maybe go watch Paul Blart. I'm not gonna go see that. That just looks fucking retarded. A fat guy on a Segway falling over and he somehow saves the day. It doesn't make any sense. It's all
slapstick humor for people. No, I didn't even like the first one. Vanessa liked it, I think. I don't remember, but I was just like, nope.
Yeah, I like that actor, but I think he's a pretty funny guy. I saw his stand-up special. It's pretty funny.
His name Kevin James?
Kevin James, yeah. He's a funny guy. I wanted to watch that movie that he was in where he played a boxer, because I heard that was really good. And it
was actually. I mean, I didn't watch the whole thing. I saw parts of it. What was that called? Shit, I can't remember now.
Yeah, I don't know. It
was like he was basically getting into a UFC fight to make money to save his school.
Yeah,
it's one of those feel good, heartwarming tales.
Yeah,
but I remember he actually got in pretty good shape for. I mean, he was still big, but you could tell that he actually probably put some effort in and really did some workouts and.
Yeah. I think I knew about that because of Joe Rogan.
Here Comes the Boom, I think is what that was
Here
called.
Comes the Boom,
it was
that's
like,
it.
I was like, it's something along kind of silly like that.
I was going to say Punch-Out, but that's a video game.
Well, Lil Mac.
Yeah, Lil Mac. Ah, shit, I don't want to talk about that. Anyway, yeah, The Hobbit was, we just watched it the other night. It was a fucking epic tale of,
Woe,
and insanity, and, no, I mean, there was barely any love interests in the, like, there was a little bit of it was kind of like the ending of the story or whatever. Oh, we should probably say, we'll probably give some spoiler alerts. If you haven't seen The Hobbit, just don't fucking listen to this.
Yeah, just fast forward
at this point
10 minutes and
well, I don't know how long it's going to be. Don't fast forward because that's exactly when we're going to say the spoiler. Just wait until you watch the movie or whatever. We won't get too crazy in depth, but
I think anybody who's familiar with the story just knows how it all ends. So it's not like a brand new tale that's never been heard of. I mean, the book was written in like 1937. So,
but you said that the movie did.
I was
some
actually
different
wrong.
Oh, you were?
Yeah, those characters did actually perish in the book as well. Like, and I just completely forgot. I was like, now I'm gonna go reread the book because I clearly forgot some very big things that happened.
Yeah, that's pretty dark.
I think the last time I read the book, I was like fucking 12 or something. I don't know. I read it a long time ago.
Oh yeah, it's been a long time. I don't remember the last time I read that book.
But actually, it sticks pretty close. I mean, obviously, I have enjoyed the Hobbit movies, not as much as the Lord of the Rings movies. The Hobbit book, in my opinion, is the best book that Tolkien wrote. And then the Lord of the Rings books, I read them, but I didn't really enjoy them a ton. It's a pretty dry read. But the movies were really exciting, and they captured most of the essence of that story. So I like the Lord of the Rings movies more than the books, but I like the Hobbit book way more than I liked the movies.
Yeah.
The movies were oddly enough, they took a story and then bloated it up way too much into like this ridiculous. They should have just done like 2 movies and just did a really good telling of the book. But the first 2 Hobbit movies were really good, and they had that kind of childish, kind of fairy tale story style to it, which is what the book was like. And then this last movie was just like just 2 hours of fighting and craziness. It was like they just didn't really have enough material, I felt like, to do another movie, so they just really stretched it out. They
really did. Yeah, they really stretched out the third movie. I mean, you could have done the whole third movie within maybe an hour because if, it's a battle, but battles are boring after the first 5 minutes because you get the point that like it goes back and forth and you got the, it's all so chaotic you can't pay attention to very much. So it would have definitely, like, they could have probably just done 2 3-hour movies, and it would have been great, and they could have maybe done a little bit more. But yeah, you're right. The first 2 movies were definitely much more whimsical, storytelling, character-driven, kind of suspenseful, and some interesting, like what's going to happen? And then in the third one, just it kind of took me out of the whole story. Like, it was like, even the characters are just different without a lot of cause. Like the Dwarf King guy, Thorin Oakenshield. He
was just under dragon sickness the whole time, being a dick to everybody.
So he's in there, and he's being possessed by the greed of having so much gold. But it's like they just kind of switched it over, and they just said, "Oh, this is a disease," and it's like, okay. But he was like a really good character the whole time, and he's like this noble character, and then all of a sudden you're like, he's the bad guy, and it just makes you you're not attached or related to the story anymore. And they really didn't use Bilbo very much in the third
that's
movie.
what I was going to say. Martin Freeman's portrayal of Bilbo is just awesome. Like, that's the biggest reason why I enjoyed the first 2 so much, is he does such a great job. Yeah. And then he's not in like half of the new one, and he was very underutilized, and I was just kind of bummed out about that. They focused a lot on the armies and the other characters and stuff.
Yeah. I think they were trying to, because in the book, I guess he gets knocked out early on in the battle, and that happens a little later in the battle in the movie, and maybe they just didn't know what to do with him when the battle starts. Once that all starts, he's not really in the book very much. So,
Well, I mean, that was like the very tail end of the book. Tolkien. What's funny is, like with the Hobbit and the Lord of the Rings, like Peter Jackson turned these these big epic battles into very like big elaborate sequences, but in the books they're not at all. Like,
oh, really?
Tolkien did not spend very much time with like the action part of the story. He was more interested in like the for example, in the Fellowship of the Ring, when they're having their little powwow to establish the initial fellowship.
Yeah,
that's like a 10-minute scene in the movie, and in the book it's like a 30-page like elaborate conversation that they have. And then you go to like the Battle of Helm's Deep, which is like 45 minutes of that movie, and then it's just like 2 pages of the book. I mean,
really?
I think he just was like, this battle happened, and then this was the conclusion. He didn't like. He was more interested in dialogue and characters and stuff.
It's very similar to the Game of Thrones storytelling in that the battles aren't the main part of the movie. The violent or the it's interpersonal. It's more about the characters, the relationships, and getting to really understand like the culture that's being portrayed, not necessarily just like all this, high action, like, sword fighting and stuff. And in I think in Lord of the Rings, it was about visuals appeal. It wasn't necessarily about all the storytelling elements. It was about, having amazing graphics, amazing cinematography, amazing locations. You know what I mean? Like, It was like, obviously, their goal was to make an amazing looking movie, and part of that is action, because on film, people standing around and talking, for especially kids, because they're kind of designed for kids. They're rated PG-13, I think. They're I could be wrong. I don't know.
No, they are. I think they are PG-13.
So they're designed kind of for a mass audience of people going who may not have read any of the books, and so maybe their goal, like Peter Jackson's goal, was just to blow people away with the current, like, film technology.
Yeah.
And
you got to make it exciting. I mean, you can't. If it's all dialogue, people are just going to fall out of it probably. So it always made sense for why they, they focused a lot on the combat, is because that's the exciting stuff that people want to see.
I was hoping there'd be more comedy, and like there was a little bit of comedy in the first 2 movies, at least as far as like Bilbo and some other things. I haven't watched those in a while, but I think they tried to pull off some comedy in this one, but it didn't find anything
flat.
very...
I felt like,
because
I remember in the second Hobbit film, that whole barrel sequence where they're in those barrels, that was hilarious. It was very well choreographed. It was very funny. Like, and then this one, it's like they tried to do that, but they just didn't.
It was too dark.
Pull it off. Yeah.
It was. The first scene is the dragon. A million people die in that scene, and then essentially goes from there to the insanity of Thorin Oakenshield, and that's not funny. There's nothing funny about it. It's very dark and depressing, and I think my main like take home lesson from his issue was not that he was going crazy and that greed is overtaking, because all the other dwarves were there. They were all around the gold. They didn't. He was the king, and I think that was maybe analogy of how a king who is being followed and not being questioned has full reign to do whatever crazy, irrational shit that they want. But the real take home is, like, if you're the dwarven people that are supposedly his followers, and he's doing things that are literally putting your lives at jeopardy, putting all these other people's lives at jeopardy. He's making terrible decisions, and he's literally gone crazy, and it's obvious. Like, it's not like they're like, well, he's like crafty like a fox. It's like he's fucking insane. Yeah. Like, he is literally going to sacrifice all of us for the gold. And it's like, why would they just follow him? Like, that kind of what is it called? Like, servitude and obedience to a complete dictatorship or a complete, like, insane leader is really the problem in that situation, because they could have solved that problem immediately. They could have just put him in a cell. They could have been like, hey, you've gone crazy. You need to go in a cell, take some time, be by yourself. We'll get a therapist in here and we'll talk to you about this. But, like, we are going to deal with this in, like, a diplomatic way, so that when, like, the elves come, they could have easily worked it out in a trade. All the elves wanted was some gold. Like, they literally
little star
they wanted
they
wanted some ancestral stuff, whatever. Not that anyone like their, like, claim to it was just crazy. And then, they let the dragon out, which murders a bunch of people, and he doesn't care. It's just is this very cold-hearted person, and they didn't do anything about it. And I thought that was really just like a terrible like a message. Like, it's not good that they just went with it. And it, you know, Bilbo, I guess, was the bravest one who withheld the stone from him, knowing that he would probably be killed by Thorin because he was crazy for that stone. And I think that was kind of a good little message, that you don't just give up power to a dictator.
Yeah.
But all the other dwarves did, and then I was like, I give them, like, they're not, I don't respect those guys anymore. They were kind of minor characters, but at the same time, you know, they were supposed to be a brotherhood, and they just sort of gave up on rationality, and like, because they could have, like, you know, there would be no need for war if they would have just like traded with the elves.
Yeah.
Like, you know, we have something you want.
Bargain with the Lake Town people that they were going to give them.
I know.
Some of the gold in exchange for their help, and then they're just like, nah, fuck you.
Yeah, he backs out on it. It's just really horrible. That's a terrible ethical message, you know, that's the way it is. And then he comes back, and he somehow miraculously, within one little stroll down a gold hallway, decides that that's not a good idea, and he starts hallucinating all these things and stuff.
I think it was the hallucinations, and then the tossing of the crown on the ground was the moment.
It was symbolic of his thrusting away his desire to hoard the gold. He was like, screw it, I need to do the right thing. But by that point, everyone had already died. Like, there had already been thousands of deaths of, you know, other dwarves whom he asked to come help him. He was like, hey, I don't want to do anything, but you guys, hey, come over here and murder yourselves, you know, put yourselves at stake, you know, put your lives at stake for my cause. But he wasn't even willing to help. So, I mean, obviously he was crazy, but, you know, at the same time, the dwarves should have been like, hey, if you guys aren't willing to fight for your own gold, why would we? I mean, there's no even guarantee that he would have given them any gold or anything. And, you know, like, why would they waste their time and die and everything? It's a very interesting story. Like, it was like this huge message about greed, but then the real message was like that a bunch of orcs are going to murder everybody. Like, I didn't really get it. There was almost no, like, there was no justification for anything in the whole thing. Like, it didn't make any sense at all. And then there was also the, like, you know, Gandalf in the scene where he's being attacked by all these ghouls, and he gets out of the cage and all this stuff. And then the lady elf, Kate Blanchett, whatever her name is, I can't pronounce.
Sorry, I just watched all the Lord of the Rings movies, so this is all very fresh in my mind.
For sure, she banishes the like servant of Sauron, right? This like fire beast that shows up in the Lord of the Rings movies, and it's kind of a foreshadowing of what's going to happen. But if she's so goddamn powerful to do that to a being that is way supernatural, I just feel like, I don't know. I just thought it was just kind of this really weak, loosely driven storyline, you know, at the end.
Well, that story with like Gandalf and the elves and stuff, that's not even in the book. That was like things that they added in from, because I heard that they used, or read, or I don't know, that they used like notes that Tolkien had written, because he has, like, you know, all these fucking notes and other unfinished tales that he was working on, and they used a lot of that material to create some of those scenes. And then I think that they also did it so that they could really bridge The Hobbit with The Lord of the Rings, so that it was just one big contiguous like 6-movie story arc
series. And they did that, you know, because by the end, you know, he's old again, and it's like, now you're ready to watch the other 3, and I bet they'll see sales for the other 3 movies go up through the roof. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I just watched all 3 of them after seeing the end of that,
for sure.
And then I was just watching, I haven't seen the Lord of the Rings movies, and God,
the Lord of the movies.
It's such a commitment to watch them, because you don't just watch one of them.
The first one you can't just watch.
Yeah, you finish it and you're like, it's like watching like a 12 or 13 episode season of a show. Like, you just watch the whole fucking thing. Like, that's just how it goes.
Yeah, well, you watch as much as you can fucking handle until it's like 5 a.m. and you're like, I gotta go to bed. Oh, jeez.
But no, we just, like, in the last couple of days, we just sat down and watched all 3 of them, and the Lord of the Rings movies are just fucking fantastic. I actually didn't even realize that, like, Return of the King, which is the last part of it, won like 11 Academy Awards that year, made over like $1 billion in the box office. Like, I knew it was popular, but I didn't realize that it had like gotten so many accolades and everything for its work, which is awesome.
Yeah, it's just a way more dynamic movie. It's just so much more.
It's a lot more
complex.
mature and dark. And
yeah, and I mean the acting is like ridiculously good. It's got Elijah Wood. It's got just all these great actors, and you actually get to see them do pretty long scenes with a lot of interesting things going on, and they're definitely much more. They seem to just have more substance, just more to get you involved and get you interested and all that. I found the Hobbit ones, like you said, I think they just drug it on too long. It's not that long or complicated a story.
It's one
and it's about one character. Yeah. It's about the Hobbit. It's about him, and they should have really just made it about his perspective and not done all these side things and all this, massive wars that he didn't even have anything to do with, really. Yeah. Like, ultimately. I realized after watching or listening, God damn, slow down.
Deep breaths. Just getting ahead of yourself.
Take a breath. I'm getting excited. Doing this talking thing. I realized after listening to podcasts that I say the word ultimately all the time.
Ultimately too much.
Ultimately, I think I do it too much, but I don't know why. I think I like to think that I think I use it to like I'm using it like the word fundamentally or fundamentally. Like I'm using it like this is the kind of deepest level that I know about.
Yeah, it almost seems like
but it's not true. I can't
just another word for summary. Like you just say ultimately.
Yeah, you're right. I think you're right.
And just sum all this up, and then you give your.
I think that's what I think that's what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to say. To summarize without actually summarizing anything. I just say it like it's. I'm trying to give power to what I'm saying.
You're a tyrannical leader. Ultimately, this is how this is going to happen.
You're going to listen to me. Ultimately, I know all the root causes for all these issues.
But anyway, ultimately, I would give that movie 4 tomatoes and a banana, I think.
Oh, yeah?
On my rating system.
I was thinking maybe 2 headsets and a shot glass. 5 bears and a chocolate sauce.
And a partridge in a pear tree.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that makes sense.
But no, that's pretty good. I'll get it just because I have all the other ones, and I'll watch it again, I'm sure. But it definitely won't be the one that I watch frequently, like compared to the other ones, probably. But it's almost like with those Hobbit movies, I think when I watch them, I would almost just watch the first 2 and then just remember what happened in the third one.
That's
and then
sad.
Just not really worry about it
I don't really have any desire to watch any of them again. I just don't really... I don't think I care as much about the characters. Like, I think in The Lord of the Rings, you have characters that are so... Like, they go through so much struggle that... They good and bad is dealt with a lot more. Like in the Hobbit movies, it's good and bad. Like you just kind of know what's good and bad. Other than the third movie where he goes crazy, like it's the Hobbit guy's good and the orcs are bad, and there's no real like transition characters. There's no characters that go from thinking that they're good to now they're bad to wanting to do this. I think in the Lord of the Rings, there's just more struggle. There's more turmoil. There's more interpersonal like complicated stuff going on where it's not so obvious or whatever.
Yeah. Well, I think it's just because they're similar stories. They're both set in the same fantasy world, but they're 2 different kinds of stories. One, right. I mean, Tolkien wrote The Hobbit is like a bedtime story for his children, so it's more of like a simpler kind of lighthearted adventure tale. Totally. Whereas The Lord of the Rings was definitely directed towards a more mature and audience, and so it's a lot more complex.
No, I think that definitely kind of sums that up and it gives me better perspective on what to expect. Because I don't know, I hadn't watched or read The Hobbit in so long, I didn't really remember any much of it other than kind of what everybody knows about it. And I guess my expectations are a little different now. Like if I was a little kid, The Hobbit would probably be, the movies would probably be a lot more interesting to me. And then Lord of the Rings might suck because they're like too dark and I don't get it. Like why are everyone so mad? Why are everyone so mad? I'm also Asian at that point when I'm a child. I'm a little Asian child.
Change ethnicities as you get older?
Yes. Yes, I do that pretty regularly. I've been Native American for a long time now.
I noticed that your skin was a little bit darker.
A little bit redder.
I just didn't want to say anything because it might be offensive to you.
Yeah, you don't know.
Sure, I don't.
You don't know me.
You'd be really upset about that.
You don't know
Thanksgiving
me.
just happened not even a month ago. Maybe you're still a little upset about that.
I'm terribly upset about that.
Celebration of the genocide of your people.
Yeah, but fucking pilgrims. Those goddamn pilgrims. Yeah. Hobbit.
Go see it if you like Lord of the Rings stuff.
Yeah.
That's all I got to say.
It's one of those ones I think everybody just goes to see. Like, it's just so, obligatory. You have
I realize
to see it.
It's like the first one that I haven't really heard anybody talking about. Like, usually when any other like one of these movies has come out, like everybody that like around me or that I know is usually chatting about it. And this is like the first. Felt like it just came out under the radar and nobody's
today.
Really
like
about it.
3 friends came in today and were like, "I'm going to see The Hobbit," and I was like, "Oh, I just saw it. Check it out. You'll like it or whatever." I didn't say anything too negative about it up front. But yeah, definitely not quite as epic as other movies. But as far as the movies that have been coming out, I mean, what other epic movies are there? There's the Hunger Games. There's
I think that one's still riding pretty strong.
Yeah,
probably.
I still want to see that. What else is coming out this by the end of the year? Because there's always big stuff during Christmas. Because
Christmas this year is pretty weak.
Yeah, right. The Hobbit is like the biggest one. I don't know of anything else.
I think that Into the Woods movie that Disney's putting out is going to be
that just
very
came out.
big.
Didn't that just come out?
It comes out on Christmas.
Oh,
so in
okay.
like 4 days.
Oh, wow. Okay.
I'm sure I'm gonna go see it with Vanessa because she desperately wants to see it.
I have no desire to see that stupid movie.
I don't like musicals, so that's
it's a musical.
Yeah, it's like a musical type.
Oh, I might actually like it. I actually like musicals.
I've actually read it's really good. Like
really?
From the few like kind of critic reviews that I've seen, which surprised me because it seemed like a just kind of hack-and-eyed, thrown together thing that they're doing just to sucker people in for Christmas. But I guess it's actually pretty well done. So now I'm a little bit more interested in seeing it, knowing that other people have appreciated it.
I think I can't justify going to see that by myself. I'll have to go with someone.
Yeah.
I can't just be like a 30-year-old dude going to see this movie by myself. I do want to see it now that you mentioned it's a musical. I
didn't know you were so into musicals.
Yeah, dude. I've been to New York a bunch of times and like 3 times in my life, and we always went to go see on Broadway and off Broadway movie or shows, and that was the first time I saw a musical live. And like other than like when I was a kid, like I always liked The Lion King. I always liked all the Disney movies are musicals, and I love all those movies as a kid. So I think growing up I knew that. But then I saw like Wicked. I think Wicked was one of the first ones I saw on Broadway, and it was the most exciting thing I ever saw, like entertainment wise. It's so good. Like it's not like if it's a good musical, like I saw Rent on Broadway too, and I thought it was terrible. I saw the Nutcracker, which is a ballet.
Yeah,
boring as fuck. But the Lion King on Broadway was like the most exciting thing in the world because I knew all the songs and I could sing back. But Wicked was like the first one that like blew my mind as far as like live musicals. I've watched quite a few. Movie musicals are not the same as like a live performance.
Oh, not at all. Yeah, I've been to a few plays live, and they're amazing to watch. It's just like going to a concert or something. Like being there in the moment, like with that energy in the room, is a lot more exciting than just watching it on TV. Yeah,
it's like the difference of watching a stand-up special in an auditorium with it live or on TV. Just sitting there, it's just a very different experience. You don't laugh at the same things when there's no audience.
Yeah.
So I guess Into the Woods is coming up. I might go see that. I don't know. I haven't really seen a ton of movies lately. So.
Well, and The Interview was supposed to come out on the 25th as well. But
that was another Christmas one.
Yeah.
I think that's funny because they always do that. They always have some weird movie come out on Christmas that's like that, like a comedy or something. And then The Interview. Jeez. That's a big deal right now.
It is. It's a huge deal.
I was listening to the podcast we did with my brother that just released on Saturday, and we were talking about the media and how they focus on a topic, and this is the topic. This is the topic of the week.
This is it right now.
Is The Interview, and I guess we're feeding into that because we're talking about it. But I guess it's one of the more. It's the more weird, interesting, global, like, you know what I mean? Like it's
conspiracy theory.
Yeah, I was thinking of all sorts of conspiracy theories about it. Like, oh my gosh, what about this? What about that? And it's really interesting. I don't think we've had a lot of other cases like this. I mean, is there another case where entertainment was halted because of an international threat? I can't think of one.
Well, in Footloose, the town didn't enjoy him dancing, and
so they went jihad on their asses. Yeah, that is a fictional aspect. Yeah, I can't think of anything. So this is a really interesting thing that we'll have to deal with, I guess. I mean, I don't have to deal with it. It doesn't affect me in any way.
I know, I didn't really want to see the movie that badly, so I was just like, meh. But people are just like in an uproar about it. And I've been talking to a couple people who are like falling on both sides. They're like, oh yeah, it makes sense that Sony would pull it with the threats, and then other people who are like, oh, now we're letting terrorists dictate what we consume for entertainment. And I was thinking about it. I was like, there's like no situation and no solution that Sony could have probably come up with that would have satisfied anybody. Because I mean, had they just ignored these threats and then released it into theaters, and then fucking theaters get bombed, then everybody's going to blame Sony for ignoring terrorist threats. But then they adhere to these terrorist threats and decide to pull the movie for the safety of the public. And now everybody's bashing them for being sissies, essentially.
Right. Well, or giving in to threats or whatever, or like not being free or whatever. But even if nobody blamed Sony, if like even just one theater gets bombed, and it's like the big one in New York or something, then even if Sony doesn't get blamed for the actual bombing, they're still they're not responsible for the bombing, but they still are going to be like, well, we could have just not showed it. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? These people would be alive. Like, is it really worth entertainment? The value of entertainment, is that really worth the lives that could actually be hurt? Yeah. I mean, really, I think it's definitely a really difficult situation. I think that ultimately, if a foreign government is threatening commerce, business, in America, then they're threatening the American government. Mm-hmm. They're not threatening Sony. They're threatening the American people who pay taxes to be protected from foreign invaders, from foreign fucking threats, right?
Yeah.
Like, it doesn't have as much to do with Sony, I don't think. I mean, it does, obviously, because that's who's being targeted, but the government not being behind the American population and being like, they're the ones that are in charge of our protection, right? We give them the money, we give them the power. We're not allowed to do anything on our own. What are they going to do about it? Are they just going to allow them to threaten the American public if we decide to live our lives and deal with our own cultural issues? They're just going to, like you said, Obama said that he was disappointed in Sony.
Yeah.
What the fuck is he talking about? Like, that doesn't make any sense. Sony is a business. They're cost-benefit analysis, it decided that it wasn't worth the trouble, which makes perfect sense, and they'll probably deal with it in some other way. Maybe get the movie out some other way. But
I'm sure they will. They'll probably release it like digitally or something like that.
Sure.
Because at that point, you're kind of negating the terrorist
the opportunity.
Threats,
yeah,
you go from having a few 1,000 targets or whatever. Many theaters there are to fucking every home in America that's watching it. There's no way that they could just...
So the only thing they could do, let's say Sony for $5, $10, whatever, they put a digital version on their website. You just pay the $5 through PayPal. Very hard to hack into and track, right? Mm-hmm. PayPal does a good job. And now I have a digital version of the movie on my TV. We all watch it. So the American population has seen the movie. Oh no. The only thing that terrorists could do would be to hack the website or the Sony Corporation in general, or bomb the Sony Corporation, right? So that's another problem for them.
Yeah, I know.
It's like, okay, so now we're not harming the populace or the customers.
You're painting a nice big target on yourself.
Yeah, they're putting the target only on themselves, but so that's a problem. I don't really know. I don't know. I think... Ultimately, it's going to get out. Like, I mean, we're all...
somebody's going to hack into something and...
There are two conspiracy theories that I have now. One is that Sony is doing this as a publicity stunt. There weren't any hacks. There isn't any foreign threat. I mean, maybe there was, like, Kim Jong-il is pissed, but, like, they're not actually going to do anything, and Sony is just doing this so that later they can sell it for way more.
Oh, yeah. And
I'm not saying that would... This makes no sense. It's irrational as fuck. But, whatever. Yeah. Who knows? And then the other conspiracy theory would be that the government... is the one that's actually making it so that Sony doesn't put it out. They're the ones who are actually in charge. They're telling Sony, hey, we'll pay you guys off, just don't play the movie so that we can deal with North Korea on our own terms, and we can not spark a war, because the American public would demand a war if they bombed us, right?
Oh, yeah.
Which is odd, because you would think that we would want to start a war, because governments love wars. You know what I mean? Like the whole 9/11 thing, we took over Iraq when Afghanistan was the one responsible or whatever. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know why there would be a benefit of the government to stop them from bombing us. You know what I mean? But maybe they have some other stuff going on that we don't know about.
Some hidden agenda.
Yeah, like really, we get a lot from North Korea in the way of whatever, this or that. or I don't know what we get from them, but I know that I just read something about them doing a trade embargo, I think is what it's called, where they cut off certain imports to North Korea, which would just make them more pissed, and on their own, but make it more difficult for them to survive and start wars and things like that. So if we're not giving them resources, they're kind of insulated in their own country. They're not getting imports from very many sources.
Certainly not their buddies to the south.
Definitely not South Korea. So yeah, those are the two conspiracy theories I could think of. Otherwise, I think it's just
I think that in another week, people will forget about it. It'll just be fucking blown over. I haven't heard anybody talk about Ebola in like a month.
It just
is like a flash in the pan, and then it's gone
for sure. If Sony decides to do something with it, I think no one will. They'll go watch the movie. They'll go see the movie. And if somebody gets, what the fuck? You know what I mean? Like we're gonna get bombed. Who's gonna get bombed? By what? By who? By a hacker? Hackers don't bomb people.
People are. I feel like people are still kind of reeling from when The Dark Knight Rises came out and there was that big fucking shooting where all those people got killed. Like, I feel like people are still find violence in theaters like kind of synonymous together. And I feel like the threats on the theaters for the movie, I feel like had the shootings not happened, a couple years back, that maybe they wouldn't have been so quick to just yank the movie and cancel it entirely.
Yeah, I could see that. I think that the American population has kind of gotten over the fear of possible shooting because it is very rare. It's also, I think people want to go do what they want to do, and entertainment has been around for a long time. I think that it's hard to say if sales... I think it might be, it could be a major sales issue. Like, they're really worried that if they play the movie, the sales are going to be so low for it anyway because of people being worried to go see it.
Yeah.
But there's the other people who are like, freedom, America, fuck you, or America, fuck yeah, that they'll go see it even if they weren't going to go see it. Like, this is good publicity for that movie. Now everyone's intrigued as fuck.
Yeah.
But ultimately, see? Pointless.
That's okay. I can point it out every time you say it if you want.
No, I'll do it now. I'll do it. I recognize it a little bit. But then there's like the America World Police, where Kim Jong-il is made fun of like awesomely, like hilarious shit. He's fucking Ronry. He's bombing people with sharks with razors on their heads. And what I mean? Like,
they were supposed to show that movie in a bunch of theaters. It's just kind of like a middle finger to the whole scenario. And then they ended up canceling almost all those too because they got threats again, and they just ended up pulling those.
But what are we going to just not produce movies? Because
we're not going to watch movies anymore.
Yeah.
Ask North Korea what movies we can watch. And then that's the ones we'll see.
Let's do that. Yeah. I just think it's weird. Like, at what point is the threat must be pretty fucking serious. It's got to be, or else they wouldn't do it. Like, I guess that's like the whole, like, if you were at school and a kid called the school and did a bomb threat, they had to shut down school for the day.
Yeah.
Like, they didn't have a choice just to be on the safe side, and I think that's reasonable. But at what point, like, we've had 10 death threats on the stuff, like, where do you draw the line at, like, where we're gonna actually just like call their bluff or whatever?
Crying wolf scenario, kind of, where you keep bluffing the whole time, and then eventually people don't come when you call.
And then if let's say we were just like, we're gonna play the movie, they bomb a theater or two, which seems difficult. Bombing a place is probably not as easy as I would think. I don't know. It's probably not that hard, but I don't know.
Probably not a terrorist, and maybe that's why it doesn't seem so easy.
I'm probably not. I'm too fucking busy. That's not the only reason. But yeah, and then so if people die, and then America has to declare war on North Korea, and then a lot of people are going to die.
All over a movie. How crazy would that be?
I don't know.
You had to pinpoint the origin of the next world war or something. Oh, it's because this fucking movie.
See, that's what I think. The conspiracy theory makes more like somewhat makes sense because I feel like all of it over a movie just doesn't make sense. There's got to be more going on, more history, more internal stuff going on between our governments. This is just a thing that's happening within that, and we actually know about the movie. But there's probably a lot of like trade and diplomacy and things that are going on with North Korea that we have no idea about, and that our government's never going to tell us, at least not, outright, right now or whatever. You know what I mean? Because there's got to be a lot going on. Because like I said, ultimately, if they threaten the American people, the government's job is to deal with that, not Sony.
Yeah.
Sony is just a business. Their job is to provide products that people want, and they can't do that because they're under threat.
Well, and they're also based out of Japan, so maybe the U.S. government just like, fuck you.
Doesn't Japan just have like tons of samurai? Just go over there and fucking chop a head off. Fuck you, Dolphin. Fuck you. Is that not?
Oh, you canceled our movie. We sent a samurai after you.
Oh, fuck you, Kim Jong. Oh man, yeah. I don't think we've accomplished anything in our discussion right now, but it's definitely interesting. I don't know if I was going to go see that movie at all.
I don't think I would have.
I forgot about it until now.
I think it was one of those movies that I like. Maybe at some point, if I was really bored, I might have watched it, but I don't.
Yeah.
I don't think I probably ever would have really gotten around to it, so it doesn't hurt my feelings too much.
Yeah.
I was telling Vanessa the other day, I was like, if they did this shit with like the new Star Wars movie, I'd lose my fucking mind.
Oh, man.
But no, not for the interview. I don't really care.
Yeah. It's funny how, we can get away with any kind of sci-fi, fake, fictional stuff, but you bring up one real dictator, and the real dictator is real, and it's like, no, I'm going to really bomb you. Like, it got too real. Oh, shit, this fictional stuff is getting...
It's getting too meta for us.
Too meta. Yeah, it's meta as fuck right now. Maybe it's all simulation, and this is just the storyline of American, that somebody wrote in a program that we're dealing with. Okay, let's have the dictator of this little place have some nukes, and he just gets pissed off at these guys for making a movie, and it's just like, oh shit, we got to deal with it. I think it's good proof that Satan isn't real because the movie. The End Is Here, or whatever, what that movie, the other Seth Rogen movie, they make fun of the devil, in that movie, and he didn't threaten anybody.
Yeah, he didn't.
Maybe he has a better sense of humor.
I would like to think that if the devil existed, he would have a pretty solid sense of humor.
He'd probably appreciate the kind of filthy nature of movies, and debauchery that happens in film.
Because that's all dirty and nasty.
Yeah, dirty, but it's funny though, so people get enjoyment. So I don't know if he'd like that.
Is he known for just total torment? Is that? I
guess it just really he's into stealing souls to burn them. So I don't. He's kind of a bad guy. I've heard. I don't know. Maybe he gets a bad rap.
That'd be such a weird thing to just want to do forever. I just want to steal your soul and then just burn it. Just that's all I do.
He's like an angry child, who burns ants.
I guess it's true. His daddy didn't like him and cast him down.
Yeah.
Bada bing, bada boom. Now he's burning people.
Getting his revenge.
Supposedly.
Allegedly. It's allegedly. No, you're ignorant. Oh, that's funny. All right. Well, I think we've done a little bit of work here. Is there anything else we should discuss? Any video games coming out? I mean, we're kind of at the end of the year. We got Christmas coming up. Do you have some awesome Christmas plans?
I am just going to be going to my in-laws.
Yeah?
I'll probably go down Christmas evening and stay the night and then come back Christmas Eve and then come back Christmas evening.
Sure.
So I gotta work in the morning the following day.
Yep.
Every retailer knows the day after Christmas is the happiest day of the year for everyone.
It's wonderful. The amount of returns and gift cards to deal with unhappy people.
Actually, I don't know, man. These last couple of days have probably been the worst that I've experienced in my year.
Yeah,
so it's been
I don't know.
Pretty rough couple of days, but
yeah, it hasn't been pleasant. But it'll all smooth out here pretty soon.
It's just that time of year.
I like Christmas dinner because it's essentially Thanksgiving part 2 because everyone eats the same fucking food. Yeah. It's like really good, awesome food. Why don't we eat it all year? Why does Mom make that shit all the time?
I was thinking about that. I was like, the families get together for Thanksgiving and Christmas. It's this big family gathering, and we all take time out of our days to see each other. Why don't we just fucking do that on a regular basis, just once a month? Just get together with your family and have this sweet dinner. Like everybody waits for like these 2 days out of the whole year to really like businesses shut down, and it's just I don't know. It's just kind of funny that it's all truncated into just 2 days out of the whole year.
One day is for thanking and eating, and drinking and then watching football. A lot of people do that on Thanksgiving.
Oh, yeah.
And then Christmas is about consumerism, capitalism, like buying things for people that you may not like your parents, per se.
That was what's funny about Thanksgiving is on Thanksgiving, that whole day is about being grateful for the things that you have and thankful for the people that you have in your life. And then the following day is Black Friday, which is the biggest shopping day of the year, where people trample each other to death to buy things that they don't fucking need. Yeah. It's just like you spend one day in like meditation and appreciation to just murder the following day for a sale.
It's like you're okay with your in-group. Your family is like the in-group tribe, and you're like cool with them, kind of, not really. And then you have the next day, which is like, fuck everybody. I have Christmas plans. Like, what? You fucking crazy people and your contradictory values. Like, all right, let's pretend that we love each other and then murder each other at Walmart so we can get a toy for a dumb
$200
child.
off my plasma TV. It was important to me that this
That's
man is now dead.
It's a good deal. It's definitely a funky situation. And then you have Christmas, and then everyone opens their presents and they didn't get what they wanted,
or they did, and then they ignore their family for the rest of however long they enjoyed that item.
It's such a weird thing. I don't know. I just don't get it.
I don't care at all about any of the holidays anymore.
I have purchased zero presents.
I wanted to purchase
zero
presents.
I know. It's just like I don't know. I mean,
the moment people start buying you stuff, you're just obligated.
Yeah,
at that point.
For sure. You are, because it's financial, and it took something away from them, and they did it for you under the guise of like friendship, and so you're like, well, I like you too. I gotta buy you something now. It's like if you buy me lunch, I owe you a lunch. Mm-hmm. It's just the way I feel. Like I don't actually owe you, but if I never paid you back for a lunch, you'd be like, this dude just fucking uses me for lunches. You know what I mean? It's a little bit of that going on, and. I just think it's weird. I think I'm going to get a few presents here and there, and I just don't want them. I don't need them. I need love.
Just give me a high five and a hug. And
maybe a hug once in a while would be pretty nice. And then a hug, but like in a way that I couldn't possibly get sued for sexual harassment, or like, you know what I mean? Like let's all just like get rid of like some of the like disconnectedness and have connection. Then we wouldn't need to pay people off for their friendships, and like obligate people to buy us stuff so that we can show affection. Like affection doesn't come through gifts. It comes through, love and caring and good conversations and being honest and all that stuff.
Do you have any plans for Christmas?
Yeah, I'm thinking about, I was invited to a barbecue.
Oh, that's right.
And I don't have family in town, or I'd feel obliged to go see them.
And you have no time to go see them.
I literally have I have that day, and that's my only day off. So I got to do my laundry. I got to do, you know what I mean? I'm gonna eat a salad. Like that's my day. I'm gonna probably exercise a little bit.
Exercise, do laundry.
It's just
salad.
Another day.
Yeah.
It's it's my only day off in 7 days or whatever, 6 days, and so and then I'll hopefully go hang out with some friends. I don't really have any plans, and then. I'll get the laundry and the mail. I'll do stuff.
The mail does not run on Christmas Day, so that's one thing.
No, I mean like the whole week's worth, because I don't check my mail every day. That's
just once
crazy.
a week?
Yeah, once a week when I do my laundry. So yeah, no plans. But I will see I saw my brother, and then my mom's coming into town soon.
Right.
Now everybody knows.
Yeah.
My mom's plans, and
I'm all about giving stalkers a good agenda to follow.
Yeah, for so they know what's going on. She'll come visit, and we'll hang out, and she'll probably get me a gift or something. I don't know, and then I'll feel obligated.
Just make her buy you lunch, and then you can buy a lunch next time you see her.
I think the only days that I really think matter are birthdays, and I don't even know why. It's just like an emotional thing. I just like the idea of celebrating
surviving
birthdays.
Another year.
Yeah, it's just celebrating that you're alive and that you were born, and that's nice. And I think that's some, for certain people, I care that they're alive, and that's nice. But otherwise, it's kind of, I just don't care as much. And I'm okay with buying people presents other times of the year.
I think that I have to agree with you, actually. Now that I feel like birthdays and my anniversary is actually a big one for me.
Yeah, but that's for you.
It's
that's
like an
not
accomplishment. Like,
yeah, Yeah,
you know.
that doesn't affect everyone in your life. That's you and your wife.
Yeah.
Like, I don't need to buy you an anniversary gift, but you guys care about that stuff.
Yeah. Well, I mean, if you want to give me something for
I'm not saying I won't.
just-
I'm saying I don't have to. I don't feel it doesn't really. It's not something that I accomplished.
Yeah. But those are the only holidays that I ever like. Those are the ones I go out of my way and like do somethething cool.
Sure, I think it's good to
Christmas.
celebrate certain things, but
Christmas this year was very simple because I just asked. I was like, Vanessa, what do you want? Like, just give me one big awesome thing. I'll just buy it and we'll call it Square.
yeah.
And so I just got our laptop. It like showed up earlier this month. I was like, you can just have it now.
Yeah.
We'll just call it like Christmas is done. We're Square.
Yeah, I think it's also more exciting when you kind of have. Like, I'm single, my family's out of town. Like, what do I have to do for a fucking Christmas? You know, like, there's nobody bugging me about it or talking to me or helping me buy stuff or wanting me to buy stuff or getting gifts or cards. So it's like, but like when I did have a girlfriend, I don't remember if it was for Christmas or my birthday, but I got one of the coolest gifts I've ever gotten, which was a goddamn samurai sword, which I've wanted like my whole life. And I got one as a gift. So it's not that I don't want gifts. It's just like what time of the year is not that big of a deal to me. And doing it for this particular, you know, like traditional societal thing is just, I don't know, just where I have an issue with it, I guess.
What's funny about gift giving, especially between like a man and a wife, is you typically share the same pool of money, like the same bank account. So really, you're just buying yourself gifts with your own money, and so it's not as exciting. You're just like, well, I better get what I want because my money is going towards it. Like, don't buy me something I don't want. Like, you're just wasting our money.
Yeah,
it's just kind of funny that it goes from you just receiving gifts and giving gifts to just like buying yourself something that somebody else thought would be cool that you have.
Yeah, something you've always wanted, and then they're the one who actually gets it.
Yeah.
But you could have easily gotten it yourself, and you're actually kind of paying for it for yourself. Although you have a shared bank account, so it's a little bit.
Yeah, you just look at the
you're
bank
buying
statement.
yourself something, but they're also buying it for you, and then when you buy them something, they're also buying it for themselves.
So it's just
a weird
the
thing.
gift giving is not as exciting.
It's almost like maybe we should pay a bill. Maybe we should pay off our credit card instead of fucking. You know how much money we're spending to owe them money? Like instead of having a new, Xbox One, maybe I need to have less debt. That's what I need. That's what I should ask for Christmas, other than a pool cue. I love pool, so. Anything pool related.
I wanted to do that. I was like, would it be bad if I just told everybody, hey, just make like a X amount of dollar payment on my credit card? Just do that for me.
That's a great idea. They should do a kind of like help someone get out of debt day.
Yeah.
Or like a gift card for debt. Like you just buy the gift card at the bank and you find out somebody's account number and you just pay off like $100 of their credit card bill. That's a great idea. I would totally appreciate the shit out of that. Like, pay off part of my car bill or my, pay for some gas, But I like practical stuff for the most part. Other than the samurai sword. Did I mention I own a samurai sword?
That is practical in home defense, I feel like.
Yep, that's how I'm justifying it.
Yeah, there you go. It's
and,
practical.
Post-apocalyptic planning, which is also a cool name for a band.
Post-apocalyptic planning.
Mm-hmm. Maybe not a band, but... A website?
I wish that apocalyptic started with a P because then you would have some sweet alliteration right there.
Post-apocalyptic?
Post-apocalyptic.
Eucalyptic? Eucalyptus trees.
What? Where did you get
I'm doing complete word association right now. Am I right? Eucalyptus, right? Am I wrong?
Let's give him eucalyptus for 500.
Alex. All right. Well, I think we're good. We're almost at an hour, and that's when we turn into a pumpkin or a glass slipper. I forget the story.
What are you? A Cinderella? Is that where we're going? Is that what the tale is? Is that what you're going for? Glass slipper is Cinderella, right?
Pumpkins.
Midnight. Well, her chariot was a pumpkin, right? It's like a giant pumpkin,
and then it turned into a pumpkin again at midnight.
All right.
What?
That was a whole lot of confusion right there.
Yeah, anyway.
So my glass slipper is going to fall off my foot, and then my chariot's going to turn into a pumpkin.
I think at this point we're rambling. So we should
I'm just padding.
Yeah, padding for time that we don't need to do. Anyway, are there any plugs or anything coming out soon like that we should know about? We're going to start doing a kind of joint podcast or a kind of offshoot podcast where we get some of your literature literature on audio form. So we'll let everybody know how that goes and where they can get the links and stuff. But I definitely want to give people a heads up. We'll hopefully get that stuff figured out, and they can get an idea about your literary works from a different form, and I think that'll be fun.
It will be.
Hopefully we accomplish that, or else this will be superfluous.
We'll get at least a couple of episodes, hopefully.
Yeah, I think it'll be fun. So I'm excited to get into some of your writing personally, and I think this will be a good way. But anyway, if anybody wants to give us some feedback, you can email me at g_grins@msn.com. And we have Twitter stuff that's on our Libsyn page. So you can check us out. And we have a Facebook page.
Like us on Facebook.
Like us on Facebook.
Become another brick in the wall.
Mm-hmm. I call them fleeters. They are our fellow fleeters.
We're going to have like a Fleeter Nation pretty soon. That'll be
Fleeter
exciting.
Nation. I like it, dude. That's hilarious. Anyway, thanks for listening. And
good night and good luck.